made a huge mistake, you guys. I went overboard. Hi, welcome to Luxury in Moderation, where we appreciate the finer things in life without going overboard, usually. It's time for a confession, some real talk. So I wanted to have this conversation with you guys and just let you guys know what's really going on with me and Hermes. If you're new to this channel, welcome. My name's Joanne, and on this channel I upload videos about luxury handbags and other luxury lifestyle products. So if you like this kind of content, please remember to like this video and subscribe below. Now let's get into the juicy tea. As you might have noticed on my channel recently, I have had a lot of Hermes reviews, and that is because I have bought a lot of Hermes recently. And yes, those reviews, I think they're helpful to put up and give you guys valuable information if you guys are thinking about purchasing the product or just curious about it. But I definitely did get sucked into the whole Hermes world and spending and thinking about building up my purchase history. So I really need to take a step back and make some decisions for myself on, where I was spending my money, where else I want to put that money. And I wanted to share all of that with you because I know it's really easy for those of us interested in luxury to get sucked into the Hermes journey, the game, seeing all the other unboxings and hauls and orange bags on YouTube. It feels like everyone is buying Hermes. For me, it's not that simple. We all have our own priorities, and I wanted to share, where I started with Hermes, how I got a little bit too obsessed with and spending a little too much at the boutique, and now where I am ultimately, which I think is a good place. So I hope that this helps all of you guys wrestling with these wants and needs and kind of the stress of being an Hermes customer. So I know this is all first world problems, so if this isn't the kind of video you like to watch, definitely feel free to skip it. Now I wanted to start from the very beginning of when I first got into Hermes in 2020. If you followed my videos from there, you'll kind of see what I purchased, the unboxings, but I want to share with you guys my thought process and the emotions behind all of those objects that you see on screen, so we can talk a little bit more about the thoughtfulness and the feelings behind the objects. So in the summer of 2020, when the world was locked down, I watched a lot of YouTube videos, luxury YouTube videos, and was like, Hermes. Never really considered them before. I had my eye on Chanel before that, and I just wrote Hermes off as like a whole different level I wouldn't be able to touch. But during the pandemic, watching all these YouTubers talking about Hermes, buying Hermes, I was like, hey, I could get in that too. So when stores started opening up again in the summer, that's when I first started purchasing from Hermes. So that period of time, I'd like to think that I was like dipping my toes in Hermes. Still wasn't super serious about it. Still didn't really know about the game, the journey. I was just like, oh my gosh, I finally have the ability to purchase from Hermes. That was very exciting for me. I was like, I own an Hermes handbag. That's crazy. These prices of handbags are crazy, but I'm at a place in my life where I could actually afford them. So it was a really wonderful feeling to be able to get that for myself. And then I started watching more and more videos, getting more and more obsessed. And when I hit January 2021, that's when I was like crazy obsessed with getting a Birkin. Prior to that, I had completely written off the Birkin, the Kelly. I was like, that's like crazy level, that's not for me. And then slowly, as you get immersed in the world, it starts normalizing for you the cost of those handbags. And then you see all these other YouTubers unboxing Birkins and Kellys. And in late 2020 and early 2021, it seemed like the boutiques were handing them out a little bit more easily because their factories weren't really making new things, and so they just had to sell what was in stock. And I definitely felt like they were taking things out of the stock room, they were giving out touches left and right. So this was the time that I got a little bit jealous. I was like, oh my gosh, why does that girl get a Birkin? Why does this girl just walk in and get one? You know, there's no pre-spend. I was ultimately very lucky that I only had this obsession for 6 or 7 months because I coincidentally went to Paris on my honeymoon and did receive this wonderful, gorgeous Birkin. And while I do feel like I worked hard in terms of like planning what to say and like going to the appointment and, you know, being able to express myself so that they ultimately offered me a bag, I was incredibly lucky. And back then, I didn't even know how lucky I was to have this Birkin offer, because right now I know it's a lot harder to get. So looking back now, I see how lucky I was, and that unhealthy feeling of being obsessed with getting something that you feel like you can't get and you can't get it out of your mind, and it's like I'm chasing this thing. I really only had to suffer that for like 6 or 7 months before I was able to achieve my dream. Unfortunately, that did not stop the obsession completely. Instead, it fueled this like Hermes lifestyle. So after getting the Birkin, you know, I was very careful with it, taking it out a little bit at a time. In December, I actually used it quite heavily, and that was kind of me understanding how to use a Birkin. You know, it is a handheld style. It's not a crossbody. So obviously I really wanted to take care of this investment, not in the monetary sense, but just in, you know, the bag world, that, you know, this was something very special. Now in late December and early January, that's also when I went to Europe again, and I visited all these Hermes boutiques and was still like kind of fueling that little obsession of understanding Hermes. Like, ooh, there's so much mystery surrounding it. Like, I wonder what it is. I want to interact with more essays. I want to like solve this puzzle. At the same time, in the back of my head, I was also thinking of like, how can I build up my history? How can I show them that I'm a loyal Hermes customer and I deserve these bags? And that part, I think, was unhealthy. Obviously, they have gorgeous, beautiful things, but at the same time, they are just things, and it's so easy to forget what you should truly be grateful for. Like, I should have been so grateful for already having a Birkin 30. I was already thinking about, oh, my next bag, like what do I want? What would I, like if I got in another appointment, if I got another offer, what would it be? Then after December, I didn't use the bag for about 5 months straight. I moved, I started a new job, and during this entire period, I didn't use my Birkin at all. I wanted to be very careful with it in the new city. I wasn't familiar with the area. I wasn't familiar with people. So I just, you know, sat it on a shelf. It was beautiful, but didn't use it, which is such a waste and so sad. Come summer of this year, I finally got settled into my new city. Fortunately, there was a Hermes boutique very close by. I was super excited, super stoked. I'm geared up and ready to start my journey over at this new boutique with a new essay, like worrying about all of that. Like, oh, am I gonna like my essay? Is it gonna be awkward? Like, how is this new boutique gonna work? And thinking about all of those things, that's when I really jumped in and got overboard. So during my first visit to that boutique, I ended up purchasing those extra sandals and my grooming bag. My second visit, that's when I purchased the Avalon towels as well as a ready-to-wear shirt dress, which I haven't talked about yet, but I definitely plan on talking about in another video for you guys. So these were like weeks apart, and I was so ready to establish myself as a new customer, letting them know I was serious so I could get on the list, I could start my journey, I could work up my spend, like whether it's 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 or like whatever. Like, that was exactly what I was thinking about. And that was incredibly unhealthy and wasteful, I think, because then, you know, I'm looking at my bank account and I'm like, I have goals to save more for retirement. I have goals to spend more in other areas of my life, like travel. You know, I want to put more towards my future rather than these objects that surround me. And I think that there's a balance that everyone has to decide for themselves in terms of, you know, how much you want to enjoy and appreciate the present and how much you want to plan for the future. And at this point in my life, I was leaning heavily more towards the enjoying my current rather than planning for the future, and I was uncomfortable with that. You know, I had always grown up with philosophies of saving, being smart with money, not frivolously spending, making sure that I was financially stable. My rainy day fund, my luxury fund, as I was spending on all these Hermes things, was getting quite low. So I really had to take a hard look at what I was doing with my money and tell myself, you know, things need to change. I cannot keep visiting Hermes and buying all these crazy expensive things. So that's what I did, and that's kind of also why I had some time between the time I purchased these new Hermes items, actually using them and experiencing them, and then doing a review for you guys rather than just do like unboxings, because that's just, again, not sustainable, at least for someone like me who's not raking in the millions or hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like, I know there are other YouTubers out there who have the income to do that, but for me, that's not a reality, and that's something that I really needed to rein in and acknowledge that I'm not a VIP at Hermes. You know, I'm not one of those ladies who can go in and spend every week. That's why my channel is supposed to be about moderation. That's when I really made a change with my lifestyle. I really had to, you know, tell myself, you know, all my wants were not necessary, and that money needs to be put towards better use. During that time, I also took a look at my Birkin 30 again. You know, it'd been sitting pretty on the shelf, but I was actually able to look at my Birkin 30 with fresh eyes, looking at it, appreciating the gold hardware that I absolutely love, and, you know, feeling like I missed using it. And now I'm really choosing to pick it up again, now that I'm a little bit more comfortable in my new city, being able to walk around in it. Like I do my other bags as well, you know, I'm making a real concerted effort to rotate all the bags that I have so I can appreciate each and every one of them and not think about, you know, that next bag, which comes with spending money that I shouldn't be spending, comes with not being grateful for what I already have. And that led me to appreciate how lucky I truly was, again, for already having a Birkin 30. After purchasing all of those things, I was also really struggling to think of the next Hermes item that I truly wanted. That was like a ringing alarm bell in my head, where I'm like trying so hard to think of, you know, how am I going to build up my history? How am I going to spend more? Why was I working so hard to figure out how to spend my money when I shouldn't even be spending it? So I was running out of things that I truly wanted to bring home. All I knew was that I wanted to keep going to the boutique and spending with my SA because I wanted her to like me as a customer. I wanted to, you know, build up my one-to-one spend. I was like, oh, how fast can I build up that spend so that she can offer me a quota bag? When I had a perfectly good quota bag sitting at home that I wasn't even using. So that was just a terrible cycle to be in. And I was like scrolling through the website trying to see like, is this spend enough? Is that too little? Like, how is this gonna look on my profile? And again, I was just starting to realize more and more that those were not the important things to think about. So when you catch yourself thinking about, you know, what's going to be my next purchase, that's when I try to reel myself in and think about, you know, oh, I already have all these things. Like, I really don't need something else. Like, let's wait until I actually have a need for something. Like, there will be occasions in life where like, oh, this would have been perfect. Like, then let's go get the objects that you need, and okay, like maybe let's buy a luxury version of it versus the, you know, super practical Target version of it, but that's maybe still acceptable because it fulfills this need rather than just wanting to build up history. Another thing I realized as I continued to watch these Hermes YouTube videos is that a lot of these ladies on here are a lot older than me. You know, some people are getting their first quota bags and they're like 8, 9, 10 years older than me. So why am I in such a rush to build up my collection? Yes, there are a lot of girls younger than me that have an amazing, huge Hermes collection. And I have my own timeline for when I'm going to accumulate all these things, and that's my life. And then there's other ladies older than me and have their own timeline. So everyone is different, and I'm already so lucky to have one Birkin. I really don't need to be rushing to get another one. Honestly, I do want a Birkin 25, but I said, hey, if I get that in the next 10 years, I'll be great. I don't need it in the next year or 2 years or even 5 years, you know, like this one is gonna last me that long. So why am I in such a rush? Now, ultimately, after going through the highs of being offered this quota bag and bringing home all these new beautiful Hermes things, and the lows of like being fearful of, you know, getting along with essays, offers, like the conversations, like it is very stressful, and it's bad and it's silly to be stressed about these things. But we all know that if you're playing the Hermes game, you think about these things, that, you know, I need to step away from that. I'm not like banning myself from Hermes. I don't want to be like extreme or anything, but I want to keep myself in check to make sure I am going about it in a healthy way, and also a way that's healthy for my bank account. The part I'm struggling with the most right now is, you know, making sure that my SA doesn't forget me as I'm shopping less, as I'm going in less, as I'm spending less, and becoming less of an important customer to her. You know, I'm definitely low on her priority. I just started shopping there, and she has a lot of long-standing clients. At the same time, I don't want her to forget my name. Like, let's say the next time I walk into the boutique is in 2 months and she looks at me and has no idea who I am. Can that happen? Probably, because she sees a lot of people every day. Because let me tell you, that Hermes craze is very strong. It's still going very strong, and everyone's flocking to the one Hermes boutique in my city, and they are inundated with new customers, new faces to talk to every single day. So, you know, I'm just gonna have to accept that that could be realistic, that she has no idea who I am because I am one minor customer for her, where she is my only Hermes SA. But I need to understand that that's okay, that, you know, I'm not in a rush, that I don't have gobs of money to spend, and there's better use for that money. And a very good example of that is when I was, you know, trying to come up with things that I would buy from my SA and build up my purchase history. I was like, maybe I should ask for a Ruly, because the Ruly bag is cute to me. I think it's very cute, and I was like trying to decide between like the larger one or the mini one, like which one should I ask for, what color, what hardware. And then it cost like $7,000 at least. And I had another opportunity to put that $7,000 somewhere else. And then between the two, I was like, you know, I don't even really want the Ruly that much. Like, yeah, it'd be cool if I had all the money in the world and I could buy everything that I want, but we have to make choices as hardworking people who have a limited budget on where we're gonna put that precious money. So that made it easy for me to see this other opportunity was way better, and I'm going to share that with you guys very soon, and I'm very excited about it, so stay tuned for that. And that just put in perspective, you know, how much the Ruly did not mean to me. But in the Hermes vacuum, when you're only looking at Hermes, when you're only looking at the journey, the spend, the essay, it messes with everything else, right? So that is what I really wanted to share, guys. The next time I, want something from Hermes, I'm really going to try to focus on, is this something I really want, and will it be really added value in my life? Versus, oh, is this gonna help me get that spend, that purchase history? Is that gonna help my essay remember me? Because I think that is an unhealthy way of looking at things. Everyone has their own life priorities, their own life choices, so you do you, but I wanted to share the truth about my Hermes spend and activity, because it's not all like raining money in here and raining orange boxes, and there's way too many orange boxes here to be reasonable, and this is not even all of it, guys. So there's just way too much packaging involved, way too much orange, and let's be real. Let's be real people with real priorities. I hope the best for all of you in any choice that you make. Let me know if you have any questions. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video. The reason why I started this channel is because I wanted a different perspective to be out there, and right now I'm seeing a lot of videos about Hermes unboxings, hauls, offers, Birkin offers, Kelly offers, and that's just one side of the story. The other side of the story is not getting caught up in the Hermes journey. Thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!